Hello and welcome to How to Find Peace in a Chaotic World. And I don't know about you, but my day has already been a little chaotic. So I am really thrilled you're here, whether you're here in person or you're going to be watching this recording later. Thank you for taking the time to explore this topic. Now, it seems like the world is more chaotic than it's ever been. And while I'm sure partly that is true, when we think back on how we grew up, what was going on there, it really has always seemed kind of chaotic. Let me give you an idea of what we're going to do today so we can pace ourselves. We're going to have a real quick attunement, and I'll explain that in a minute. I'm going to share with you my experience of inner peace and why I think inner peace is important, not only for us as individuals, but for us as a world. And then I'm actually going to give you strategies, something that you can use to create a foundation for inner peace, something that you can use in the moment to help you shift to a more peaceful place, and then something that will help you actually shift perspective. So I think we're going to have fun today. My name is Diane Hayworth. I am a heart-centered success coach, an author, a spiritual speaker, founder of the Be Love Principles, and I'm someone who has been worried and stressed and fearful really for most of my life. So that's one of the reasons why this topic is so important to me. Now, before we start, I want to share with you, as a way of an attunement, a little reading. This is one of my favorite books. It's called Opening Doors Within. It's written by a lady named Eileen Caddy, and she was instrumental in starting the Findhorn settlement in Scotland, which is a spiritual community. And these are a very short little daily readings that that were given to her in meditation. She's got one for every day of the year. And the one that was for yesterday was particularly good for us today. So just settle back, shut your eyes, and see how this lands for you. Again, I'm reading from Opening Doors Within, 365 Daily Meditations from Findhorn by Eileen Caddy. Is your life running smoothly? Are you content with what you're doing? Do you feel at peace with the world, or is your life full of ups and downs? Are you dissatisfied with the way you are living or with the work you're doing? Do you find it difficult to harmonize with those souls around you? Do you blame your discontent and dissatisfaction on those people with whom you are in contact and on your circumstances and situation? Do you feel that if you were somewhere else, all would be well and you would be at peace? When you are at perfect peace deep within, it does not matter where you are or whom you are with or what very ordinary, mundane job you are doing. Nothing will be able to disturb you or throw you off balance because you are perfectly balanced and in harmony within. Instead of fighting against your circumstances, learn to flow with them, and so find that inner peace and understanding deep within. So, as usual, when I'm getting ready to teach a topic, the message I most need to hear is what shows up for me. What has been really interesting is that inner peace is not natural. It has not been natural at all for my personality. You can probably tell from my little wisdom colors here, I grew up in the 60s. So as a very young child in a very rural Virginia environment, we lived through the assassination of President Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy, Dr. Martin Luther King. The Vietnam War was literally in our living room. My dad and my mom both had served in World War II. They were dealing with their own demons from that. And when the major networks of the day started to bring war correspondents literally into the news at night, my dad, who thought he was doing the right thing, always had me sit down with him and watch the news. He wanted me to know what was going on in the world. And I was terrified. I saw little children blown apart in Vietnam. I saw things that I couldn't understand. They were very difficult. So there was always this fear and overwhelm in me. Now, some people didn't respond that way, but that's kind of my personality. So throughout my life, I have tried to find a thread of inner peace. I tried to find a way to calm down. I tried praying and reading books and going to church and being in organizations, all of those sorts of things. And many of those did bring me some peace. What I found that while I could do things externally, it was being aligned to the inner peace that I think is all of our birthrights. That's what made the difference for me in the long run. And that's the kind of thing that we're going to talk about today, and that I'm really excited to share with you. So one of the things, a quote that I came across years ago was from Dr. Wayne Dyer. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Now, that looks good on a t-shirt or up on a poster, but it doesn't make a lot of sense when you're right in the middle of it, until it does. More than 10 years ago, my mother had already passed. My dad was in and out of hospitals. He had major health challenges. At this particular situation I'm going to share with you today, he had been in a hospital probably more than 8 or 9 months. And it was one of those situations where, we think he's getting out and something else happens. And my sister and brother and I were just exhausted. We didn't know how to help Dad. Dad wasn't always aware of what was going on. And I remember this particular day, my sister and I were in a waiting room in our local hospital, which happens to sit on a hill. And I was looking out of a window in this beautiful little town that we live in. And we were waiting for yet another test from another specialist. And my sister, who is the closest thing I've ever met on this earth to a saint, by the way, she's an angel. She was exhausted, and she looked at me and she said, "What are we going to do?" I mean, we just didn't know what to do. We had prayed. We had taken him to every doctor we could think of. He just wasn't getting better. And as I looked out that window, there was a peace that came over me, and it was grace. It wasn't anything that I did. It literally came over me. And I said to my sister, we have to ask ourselves, what does love look like here? Love for ourselves, love for Dad, love for the doctors and the nurses, everyone that's taking care of him. And as that perspective shifted, that peace, I'm not going to say it was there all the time, but it came into me, and it was so much easier to navigate the situation. And that was important for a few reasons. We were in charge of Dad's health care. He was not able to take care of that himself. The more calm, centered, and focused we could be, the better we could navigate not only the health system and insurance and all that sort of thing, but we could really focus on what we were being guided to do for Dad. And we decided we were going to let love lead the way. Now, I'm not going to tell you it was wonderful and Dad recovered. He did not. But I am going to tell you that we were better able to navigate those ups and downs and chaos. And if you've had anyone in your life ever that has had a long-term chronic illness, you live day to day. Today's a good day. Today's not a good day. You're waiting for this test. The test didn't come back the way you wanted. The more we can be aligned to this inner peace, which I think is our birthright, and we'll talk about that a little later, the better, more clearly we can contribute not only to our own lives, but those people around us that we love. That's what I found in this. So why is it important that we're talking about peace and calm today? We obviously know our world is changing. We know the financial world is changing. We know the face of healthcare is changing. We know our government, we know society is changing, but even put those aside, we are still going to have chaos in our daily lives. Just today, I had to get this room ready, my office, because tomorrow I'm having a whole HVAC system put in. So there was all that kerfuffle that I had to take care of. My internet went out, the Zoom wouldn't work. So every day we've got these invitations, is the way I look at them now, these invitations to choose peace or frustration. We have these invitations to choose fear and stress and overwhelm, or an invitation to choose a more loving way. And I will tell you, I don't always wish I had those choices. I would just like to kick back and have kind of a calm life. That's not how it's worked out for me. And that's why it's my passion to teach how this thread of divine love can run through all of our lives, because in reality, it already does. And I think now, this is a well-used term now more than ever, but really, have you guys seen anything calming down in the last few years? Because I haven't. So it's my belief that we really do need to just find a way that we can be calm and at peace with where we are. Now, I want to share something with you, and we're going to talk about individual peace first, right? Because that's what we're going to do. That's what we can control. There's a gentleman, oh gosh, he's a spiritual teacher. He's a wonderful psychiatrist. I think he was also a physical medicine doctor. His name was Dr. David Hawkins. And Dr. Hawkins contributed just an immense amount of understanding to the energy behind emotions and feelings. So he created something called the map of consciousness. And what he did was he assigned particular score to a variety of emotions. And he actually was able to replicate this all over the world. There were scientists all over the world that actually replicated these. But he found something really interesting, and I'm going to share this chart with you. Here we go. Okay, so you should be seeing a chart that's blue. It's got some green lines. I'm hoping that is what Zoom is letting us do today. So you see on the extreme left, you're starting at the bottom with shame. And it goes shame, blame, apathy, grief, anxiety, disappointment, anger, entitlement. These are the emotions that are below the 200 mark. Now, let's think about that for a minute. When you're feeling anxiety, fear, grief, you are in a very constricted state. Often when we're in grief, for example, we're hunched over, we've been crying. If we're fearful, what happens? We're like this, so we're not really actually able to breathe well. We have a weakened physical state when we're in these emotions. And everybody's going to be there from time to time, by the way. And many times you're going to be in and up and down this scale during the day, any particular day. What this does is when we're below this 200 mark, what Dr. Hawkins found was that you're actually using this reptilian part of the brain. So you are in much more of a fight or flight kind of scenario. You are very tuned into your own survival, as you would be. Now, I do want to mention, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a nutritionalist, I'm nothing that ends with an ist. I'm not a doctor in any way, not a scientist, but I've studied this in particular for years because I wanted to know for myself and now for my coaching clients how this works. So when you're looking at this chart, at the 200 mark is where he's noted courage and hope. That's what Dr. Hawkins thought was the door that brought you up to these higher regions of the brain so you could think more holistically and more inclusively. So think about it. Above courage and hope, we have trust, surrender, optimism, acceptance, forgiveness, compassion. As much as you can, you want to be at 200 and above. You're not going to be there every day, but in those states, you make better decisions. You, instead of that constricted feeling, you have a feeling of expansiveness. That's where happiness is. That's where joy is. That's where your inner peace can be accessed. It's up in those upper areas. You can function in a way that is better mentally, physically, and spiritually for you, right? And just think about it. What kind of day do you have when you're deep in grief or fear? It's probably not your happiest day. I will tell you, I've had some clients that tell me that they can be motivated by fear. And I understand that. I live in the woods in rural Virginia, and I literally have had a bear come to my back door, which is maybe 10, 20 feet over there. And I was a little bit scared. You can be motivated by that, but you can also be motivated by beauty and hope and love. Those are the kinds of things I prefer to be motivated by. But again, the black bear comes up, I can get up and run too. But it is much more my preference to find these ways to motivate myself from that place of alignment with my own inner peace. So as you can see, I think this is really a lovely chart because it just really helps me think, where am I? What am I able to look at? And how is it serving me? How is it serving the people I love? How am I serving my business? So what are some of the benefits when we're able to get to this place of inner peace? Okay, these are just a few, and you'll notice they're very similar to meditation, actually. This came from the World Peace Initiative. And you can see that we have some physiological benefits, right? Reduction in anxiety, stress, overwhelm, just as you would imagine. But some people are surprised to find that it can actually enhance your immune system. That would be kind of a great thing to have, I would think. It enhances your energy, strength, vitality. It helps with weight loss. Yes, please. I will sign up for that. It decreases sign of aging. It's another one I'm happy to sign up for. Helps with focus, concentration, increases your creativity, develops intuition. These are just a few of the things that it can do. So from a individual perspective, I just think this is, why wouldn't we want to do that? Now, when we are more at peace, we are more at peace within our families, our communities, and it positively affects the world. This is a quote that I love by a Buddhist monk. Here we go. Without inner peace, outer peace is impossible. We all wish for world peace, but world peace will never be achieved unless we first establish peace within our own minds. We can send so-called peacekeeping forces into areas of conflict, but peace cannot be opposed from the outside with guns. Only by creating peace within our own mind and helping others to do the same can we hope to achieve peace in this world. Now, I don't know about you. I think that's pretty important. And it makes sense to me. One of the things that I pray for mostly for our leaders is that they are calm, loving, compassionate, and they work in a collaborative way. That's how I want to work. That's how I want the people who are making decisions for me to work. And I think that the more we each individually can align there, the better chance we have of changing that kind of strategy in the world. And it doesn't happen overnight. I get that. So what are our strategies for helping cultivate this inner peace? Well, the first thing I want to offer you is the idea that this inner peace already exists. It's already in you. There's a beautiful line from A Course in Miracles, which is a mystical Christian text that I love to read. It's from lesson 188, and it says, "The peace of God is shining in you now, and from your heart extends around the world." Now, we've all been in situations where we're at a family gathering or we're at a business event or some kind of a party, and there's that little ray of sunshine that comes in and they just lift the energy. They make people happy. In reality, they're not so much making people happy as they're reminding people of their own joy, happiness, and peace that they have within. That's the way that I look at it. And I want to remind you that we all have examples of this. And let me share one with you. As a matter of fact, let me share with you one of my favorites examples of this. There we go. This is my darling 10-month-old grandson, Augie. Now, Augie is absolutely adorable. He is still in that, what the Buddhists call the original, he still has what the Buddhists call the original face. And by that, I mean, he's not ruled by shame or guilt from the past. He's not worried about the future. He is in the present. He is perfectly with you at all times. He is confident. He's curious. He's authentic. Like any baby, you know when he's hungry. You know when he needs to be changed. You know when he's happy. He laughs. That innocence that's in this precious kid is in us. We've gone to school. We've lived our lives. And we've forgotten. Sometimes there have been society situations and people who were very well-meaning, by the way, who taught us it might not be safe to be ourselves, might not be safe to laugh as loud as you want to in public. You need to be a lady or a gentleman or whatever it was that you grew up with. All of it was very well-intentioned. But what it does is eventually it creates what's called, it's like the artificial face, not the original face, but it's where you're living from your learned behavior. And we all do it. We all do it. And now, especially at my age, I'm very interested in just not doing that anymore. Like, what am I waiting for? Right? What am I waiting for? So thank you for letting me share my precious little grandson. He doesn't have the outfit of the most winning team yet, but doggone it, he's cute. And just seeing him, I just light up because he's just adorable. But anything that's young and innocent, this is why people spend hours watching kitten video YouTube, right? We are connecting to the innocence and the curiosity. That's what we love with kittens and puppies and all that sort of thing. And I say connect to that anytime you can, especially when you see them sleeping. That's why I made a note to put down there. He sleeps like a baby. Because again, what worries are keeping him up? Now, right now, he might have a little teething issues, but he's not being kept awake by something he did 10 years ago or something he said at the dinner table that might have hurt someone's feelings or a bill that's coming up. He doesn't know any of that. He lives in the lap of love. So do we. And we are living in the real world as well. So we're actually living in both places. So how do we create this foundation that will help us in our daily lives, whether it's individual chaos or if it's something going on in the world? So I've got a few ideas for you. This is the one that I have to be honest, my coaching clients usually rail against, and I don't have time and that's too much trouble, Diane, and all that sort of thing. Let me tell you, we're all busy, whether we're working full time, we're retired, we've got whatever we've got going on. There's plenty of things to keep us busy. And there are few investments that will reap the rewards of a daily spiritual practice. Setting that intention to reconnect, to align to that beautiful light that's already in you. That is worth a few minutes. One of the things that I recommend to my clients is what I call the 3 M's. Meditate, motivate, and move. Now, we're not going to do a big thing on meditation here because literally you can get apps, you can go on YouTube, you can get all kinds of resources. But finding that quiet space finding that time that you can just be with you, spirit, God, love, universe, whatever you call that beautiful, creative, intelligent, expansive energy that beats your heart and mind. That's what meditation is to me. There are plenty of ways to do it. If you have any questions or issues, you can look on my YouTube page. I've got several examples there. You can email me. I'm happy to help you. But I would really urge you to find a way to meditate, even if it's a quiet meditative walk in nature, which is a wonderful thing to do. Now, for the motivation piece, some days it is as short as reading one page from this book. Some days it's reading, most days actually, it's doing my course lesson from A Course in Miracles. There's a lesson after the text for every day of the year. It's doing that. It could be reading an uplifting biography. It could be anything that motivates and inspires you. Because let's be honest, what happens usually? We get up, most of us check our phone. That gets us right out of the inner peace part right there. I'm really inviting you to take a few minutes to yourself to set that intention to walk with that inner peace today, right? For the movement piece, it could be anything from, if you do yoga or Tai Chi, great, go do that. A lot of times I dance with my cat. It's just me and her awake in the morning. Nobody sees us, but I will put on something upbeat and just move. What you're doing with these 3 M's is connecting mind, body, and spirit. You are bringing all of those in right at the beginning of the day so that you can move forward, right, as an integrated being. That's what I'm asking you to do. The other thing in this first piece where we're creating our foundation is I want you to pay attention. What are you feeding your mind, body, and spirit? There's a lot of things going on in the world, and we want to know. I live on the East Coast, and for example, I need to know when there's hurricanes because I have to make preparations. But I don't need the news on 24/7. I don't need them on 24/7. I can scan, find out what I need to know, and go deeper into a story that perhaps calls to me. But if I've already set up my foundation, it doesn't knock me off my center the way it used to. So just be aware, what are you feeding your mind, body, and spirit? And does it make you feel expanded or contracted? That's what I want you, that's what I'm going to encourage you to look at there. Okay, so that's how we create long-term a foundation that's going to help us reconnect to that inner peace. But what happens when, I don't know, somebody you love just gets on your last nerve? Or you're having a great day, everything's fine, and all of a sudden you get that phone call. Somebody you love has taken ill. Maybe there's been a death in the family. Maybe there's been some horrible accident. We all have these challenges. So what I'm going to invite you to do is shift in the moment. And we're going to do this with the breath. And I'll show you how to do it right now because this is really powerful. This has been studied all over the world. An organization called HeartMath has done an awful lot of scientific research on the effect of focusing on this heart area, breathing in and out through that. I was actually a part of some scientific experiments that made it into a book by Joe Dispenza, where our brain and our heart cohesiveness and coordination was calibrated before and after meditation. And the breath is a big part of this. Now, this thing is really easy. You can do this anytime in the car. Don't shut your eyes, of course, if you're in the car. But I'm going to invite you to put your hand on your heart. And the reason you do that is your attention will typically go where you're touching on your body. So just think about it. If you're going through a doorway and you bump your elbow, what do? Oh, I hit my elbow or my knee or stub my toe, whatever it is. but we touch it. And one of the things that happens is your consciousness goes there, and it helps with all kinds of healing. So if you can go ahead, put your hand on your heart. I'm going to invite you to just imagine that you are breathing in through the back of your heart and out through the front. And I'm going to invite you to use a rhythm that is longer on the exhale than the inhale. And the reason we do this is because this will trigger the parasympathetic nerves, and which is a signal to your body that you're safe, that you can relax, right? And again, if you have gotten news and you need to react, you need to focus, you want to be able to be up in those upper areas that we looked at on the Dr. Hawkins chart, so that you can make the best decisions, the advice, you can do what you need to do. So all we're going to do, put our hand on our heart. You can shut your eyes if you like. I'm going to count to 4. You're going to breathe into the count of 4, and I'll count you down through 8. That's how we'll exhale. Let's breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for a second. Exhale through the nose. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Takes a little bit to get used to. Nice deep breath for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for a second. Exhale. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to do that one more time, and I want you to take a nice big belly breath in, all the way down to your belly. Inhale in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slowly release. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go. Now, you do this 5 or 6 times, you are immediately going to feel your shoulders drop. You're going to have an immediate relaxation. It's going to free up whatever emotion had flooded you from the phone call you got or whatever that was. You could even do this a couple times a day, just before you think there's going to be a confrontation, before you're going to have to make a phone call maybe that you don't want to make, or you got to go into the doctor's office for some results, or maybe you have to drive into the city and that's not normal for you, and you want to make sure that you're more relaxed, you're more focused, you're more awake. Do this breathing. It's an easy way to shift in the moment. It's beautiful. It's quick. I teach this to my grandsons. I've got a 7-year-old, and I will teach Augie when he's old enough. It is just a really easy way to shift in the moment and reconnect to that inner peace. So the last thing that we're going to talk about tonight is this is where my heart is. And this is talking about the Be Love principles. Now, I got the Be Love principles in a meditation. I was in a workshop and literally had an event. I got a download that became the Be Love principles. And the reason that I got that is because I needed to understand how to be love in the world. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to love God. I wanted to serve. I wanted to understand how I could be my most loving self. But like I shared with you earlier in the workshop, I had been really a teetotal mess most of my life, as far as nervous and stressed and easily triggered by events. So I have found that the Be Love principles, which are a set of 4 statements I'll share in a minute, that can be used individually or together to shift your perspective from a more ego, personality-based, constricted view to a more divine, expansive view. So let me share that with you. You can see those. And you can go on my website, because I have all kinds of resources, free resources actually, that you can get for that. And I'll share that too in a minute. There we go. Now, here we go. So these are the principles. Greet everyone with an open heart without an agenda. See the divine essence in everyone and everything. Forgive quickly, completely, and unconditionally. And remember, you are the light. You never left the light of the all. Now, I have to tell you, when I first started working with these, I didn't think they were that easy. It took me a while, and it took me a lot of focus to really consciously greet everyone with an open heart without an agenda, because we have our judgments, we have our memories. Oh, that's that person that in third grade, I don't know, tattled me to the teacher or whatever it is, or that person I heard this about, or I'm afraid of that person, or I'm not as good as that, or whatever that little crazy story we have. We all have our agendas. And what I found was, the more that I was able to put those aside, then I really could connect spirit to people and see them for who they really are. And when I'm working with clients, one of the very first things I have them do is go in a mirror as part of their daily spiritual practice and greet themselves with an open heart, without an agenda. I would invite you to do that tomorrow morning or when we get off this call. What would it be like to look at yourself? So when I look at myself, I'm not looking at a grandmother, a mom, an ex-wife, an entrepreneur, somebody with gray hair, wrinkles. I'm not seeing that. I'm looking in my eyes and looking for that second principle, my divine essence. That's the spark that we all saw in Augie. It's still in each of us, it's still there. And when we can just even imagine that we can greet someone with an open heart without an agenda, that we can see their divine essence, which is really where we all started, that essence, that tiny little innocent, authentic child they were at some point, if we're talking about a person. And then look for any forgiveness opportunities. You know, maybe there's something that you're holding on to that you need to forgive yourself for. Maybe it's something that you've been holding a grudge and you need to forgive someone else. We all know by this time that holding grudges and resentments hurts us. And sometimes, as you know, people hold resentments against people who have been dead for decades. And they're the ones, the person holding the resentment is the one that is suffering from high blood pressure and maybe cardiac issues, because that is a constricting disease. Those are conditions that hurt us physiologically. It's not healthy. And that last principle, remember you are the light. Now, I want to share something with you. All of us have a phone. And probably all Google stuff, right? My husband and I do this all the time. Who sang such and such in the 1970s? Who was the main character in, I don't know, Beretta? We're asking this hunk of plastic all the time for answers. And there is some satellite somewhere up there that is beaming, right, the information here. In mystic circles, light means information. It means knowledge. It means knowledge. How many of us, when we have been maybe working with young children in a discussion, I can remember doing this with my own kids, saying, go in your heart, you know what to do. You know what to do. That's that inner wisdom. And reconnecting to that and that peace, that is one of the things that is just a big benefit to me in my life and my clients, my students that work with these Be Love principles. So I know for lots of you, this is going to be brand new information. So I'm going to invite you to go through a process with me. You don't need to do anything big, but what I'd like you to do is just bring to mind someone or something that you might be having a struggle with. Doesn't make any difference if it happened 5 minutes ago or 50 years ago. Really, it doesn't make any difference. It could be a person. It could be an event. It could be an organization. It really doesn't make any difference. But I want you to have whatever's coming up for you. Let that be your focus in this little exercise we're going to do with the Be Love principles. And just for giggles, I want you to score how frustrated or upset you are with this person or thing on a scale from 1 to 10. 1 is I'm not all that frustrated, which if you're at a 1, pick something else. 10 is this really upsets me. I think about it every day, right? That is going to be the high side. So just quickly find something that you can, we're going to take it through this process. And you can always come back to this video and come do this again. So that's easy. Don't worry about that. But just score it 1 to 10. Okay, whatever you have, that's exactly what you need. So go ahead and shut your eyes for me. If it's possible, put your feet on the floor. Just really feel supported in your chair. Know that you're safe. Take a couple deep breaths in through the back of your heart and out through the front. We're just going to connect to our heart. That's what's going to lead us through this. Good. Now, I want you to just, in the quiet space of your own mind, bring that focused person or event up. And in the quiet of your own mind, I just want you to say, show me how to greet this person with an open heart, without an agenda. Show me how to greet this person or event with an open heart, without an agenda. Just relax. Something may come up now, may come up later. We're just going to trust the process. Good. Good. Take another nice deep breath in through your heart. And again, in the quiet space of your own mind, show me how to see the divine essence of this person or situation. Trust you're getting anything you're supposed to right now. Show me how to see the divine essence of this person or situation. Now, you may be interested in understanding if there's a forgiveness aspect to this situation, and you may not. There's no right or wrong. But what I'd like you to ask is, take a breath and just say, show me any forgiveness opportunity here. And if this is something really egregious that you just can't face right now, if you're interested, you can say, show me what it would be like to be ready and open to forgive. Let love guide you. There's no right or wrong. If you were given a situation for forgiveness, and if you feel ready, you can say, again, in that quiet of your own mind, show me how to forgive quickly, completely, and unconditionally now. Just relax, keep breathing. Good, you're doing great. Good. Now, still with your eyes shut, I want you to imagine there is a beautiful column of divine golden light, a spotlight and you're in the middle of the spotlight, and it's shimmering and shining, tingles your skin. You can feel it caress your hair. And this spotlight is like 20 feet all around you, and you're in the middle. And I want you to gently, if you feel ready, allow that divine light to gently not only caress your skin, but let it gently come in through the top of your head. This is God's light, the truth, the essence of who you are. Let this gently cascade down your face, your head, inside your head as well. Imagine that your head is filled with this divine light. Every cell is singing the song of source, of love. Let that light come down through your neck, down your shoulders, through your chest, down your arms, lighting up your heart, your lungs, all your skeleton. Let it go down, beautifully flowing. This light is flowing down into your belly, your hips, your legs. You feel that tingle, and you feel that all of your cells are resetting to that divine essence. Just really feel into that. If you're interested, and only if you're interested, and if it feels safe for you to do so, feel free to invite the person or a symbol of the event that you were focusing on for this exercise into the light with you. We are not excusing behavior. We are simply recognizing another divine soul on their path. And again, only if that's something that you're interested in, if that feels right to you. Sit in that light another second or two. There we go. Now, I want you to take a nice deep breath in and relax. Start to wiggle your fingers and toes. Come back fully into the room. If you need to, focus on a point in the room to make sure you come all the way back. We weren't gone very long, but some people go pretty quickly into a meditation. Take another breath in through the back of your heart and out through the front. And I want you to think about that focus person and score that again. From 1 to 10, how are you feeling about that person or place or event, whatever it was? That is a very quick introduction to the Be Love principles. To me, I use them every day. Before I get out of bed, I say, show me how to greet everyone, including myself, with an open heart, without an agenda. Show me my divine essence and the divine essence of everyone and everything. Show me when I have an opportunity to forgive and how to do that, and remind me I'm in the light. Takes 5 seconds, and that's part of my process. Now, I wanted to share one more thing with you. It's because I think this is really the way that I feel about a lot of things. You cannot find peace by avoiding life. And I can tell you that I thought that was a pretty good strategy for a lot of years, actually. I would just deny what was going on, or I would distract myself with, I love to binge TV. So that was like one of my things. Or overeating. That was another one of my things for a long time. So we all have our own distractions. That just happened to be 2 flavors that I used. But it doesn't work. And that doesn't give you the beautiful, full, happy, rich life that we are here to live. Not only that, our happiness, our peace, our connection positively ripples into our families, into our communities, into the world. I don't care if you are primarily working with animals. I've got several clients that work on farms, and they actually don't speak to a lot of people during the day. They speak to animals, and animals feel your energy as well. Every time you have a loving thought, you contribute to the energy of your community and the world, and it's important. It is really important. So I really hope that you have enjoyed today. I did want to let you know that if you are looking for support, you can learn more about the Be Love principles right here, and you'll get all of this. We have an empowered spiritual path membership. I have that every month. That's fun. And we do teachings like this. We have a focus topic every month. You can reach out for private coaching. I actually do new videos on YouTube. And I would really encourage you and invite you to share this message of peace, love, calm, especially love, with your family and friends. I really appreciate you being here, and I will see you next time.